If you're a genius, fix it. Sophia Hartwell grabbed the crumpled paper airplane from the crying child's hands and hurled it into the ocean. That's what I think of your daddy's fixing skills. 25 engineering teams had failed her yacht. Now this one-eyed mechanic in oil-stained clothes dared to offer help. She didn't know the man watching his daughter sob had designed the very system killing her ship. She didn't know her ex-husband had sabotaged her yacht to steal from this nobody. And she certainly didn't know within 48 hours she'd be running for her life beside him. Comment your city below. Let's see how far this story travels. If you're a genius, fix it. The words cracked across the harbor like a gunshot. Sophia Hartwell snatched the paper airplane from Emma Cole's small hands and threw it into the water without hesitation. That's what I think of your daddy's fixing skills. Emma's scream pierced the morning air. Marcus Cole moved before his brain caught up. His hand shot out and grabbed Sophia's wrist hard. What the hell is wrong with you? Sophia tried to pull away. Couldn't. The one-eyed man's grip was iron. Let go of me. You just threw my daughter's airplane into the ocean. She spent 20 minutes making that. It's paper. Sophia's voice dripped contempt. Buy her another one. It's not about the paper. Marcus's single eye burned into hers. It's about basic human decency. Something you apparently can't afford despite all your money. Behind them, Emma was sobbing. The airplane, her special airplane, the one she'd made for Mommy in heaven, was sinking into the dark water. Daddy, get it back. Please. Marcus released Sophia's wrist and dropped to his knees at the dock's edge. The airplane was already waterlogged, drifting just out of reach. He stretched his arm, fingertips brushing the water. I can't reach it, sweetheart. But you fix everything. Emma's voice broke. You promised you can fix everything. The words hit Marcus like a knife to the chest. Behind him, Sophia laughed. Fix everything that's precious. She gestured to the massive yacht at the end of the dock. 25 teams of MIT engineers couldn't fix my yacht. But sure, the one-eyed handyman from Nowheresville can fix everything. Marcus stood slowly. Water dripped from his fingers. His daughter's sobs echoed across the harbor. What did you just say? You heard me. Sophia crossed her arms. 25 teams, the best in the country, all failed. So spare me the small-town hero act. Some things can't be fixed by that yacht. Marcus pointed to the Aurora. The Phoenix Protocol autopilot system. It went dead without warning. No error codes, no alarms. Complete system failure while you were 20 miles offshore. Sophia's smug expression flickered. How do you know that? Because I designed it. Silence. The harbor seemed to hold its breath. Even Emma's crying quieted as she sensed something shifting between the adults. You. Sophia's laugh was uncertain now. You designed a $55 million navigation system. 13 years ago, before the accident. Marcus touched his eye patch. Before my wife died. Before I walked away from everything. That's impossible. My name is Marcus Cole. Google it if you don't believe me. Sophia didn't move, didn't blink. Marcus could see her mind racing, calculating, reassessing. Marcus Cole, she repeated slowly. The engineer Daniel spent 3 years trying to find. The one who refused to sell him the Phoenix algorithms. Daniel. The name tasted like poison. Your husband. Ex-husband. Same thing. No. Sophia's voice hardened. It's very much not the same thing. Marcus knelt beside Emma, pulling her into his arms. She buried her face in his chest, her small body shaking with residual sobs. It's okay, baby. We'll make another airplane. A better one. I wanted that one. For Mommy. Marcus closed his eye against the pain. 4 years, and the grief still hit like a freight train when he least expected it. I know, sweetheart. I know. When he looked up, something had changed in Sophia's face. The contempt was gone, replaced by something harder to read. Not sympathy exactly. More like recognition. She made it for her mother. Her dead mother. Yes. The words hung between them, brutal and unadorned. Sophia took a step back. For the first time since Marcus had seen her, she looked uncertain. I didn't know. Would it have mattered? No answer. That's what I thought. Marcus lifted Emma, settling her on his hip. She was getting too big to carry, but right now she needed the comfort. They both did. Good luck with your yacht, Ms. Hartwell. I'm sure team number 26 will figure it out. He turned to walk away. Wait. Marcus didn't stop. Please, wait. Something in her voice made him pause. Not the command he'd had enough of people giving him orders to last a lifetime. But beneath the entitlement, he heard something unexpected. Desperation. What do you want? Sophia moved closer, her heels clicking on the wooden dock. I want you to look at my yacht. You just insulted my daughter, threw her airplane in the water, and mocked my abilities. Why would I help you? Because you said you designed the system. Sophia's voice dropped. Because 25 teams couldn't figure out what's wrong. Because I've been stranded in this town for 3 weeks and I'm running out of options. Sounds like a personal problem. I'll pay you, whatever you want. Marcus laughed bitterly. I don't want your money. Then what do you want? He turned to face her fully, Emma still clinging to his neck. I want you to apologize to my daughter. Sophia blinked. What? You heard me. Get on your knees and apologize to Emma for throwing her airplane in the water. Do that and I'll look at your yacht. You can't be serious. I'm completely serious. A standoff. The harbor breeze carried the smell of salt and diesel. Somewhere, a seagull cried. Sophia Hartwell, worth more than most small countries, looked at the one-eyed mechanic and his crying daughter. I don't kneel for anyone. Then fix your own yacht. Marcus started walking again. Wait, fine. He stopped, turned. Sophia's jaw was clenched so tight Marcus could see the muscles working. But slowly, painfully, she lowered herself to one knee on the dirty dock. Emma peeked out from Marcus's shoulder, eyes wide. I'm sorry, Sophia said through gritted teeth. For throwing your airplane. It was wrong of me. Emma stared at her for a long moment. Then, it was for my mommy. She's in heaven. Something cracked in Sophia's composed facade. Just a flicker, but Marcus saw it. I'm sorry about your mommy, too. Emma considered this. Okay, I forgive you. Sophia rose, brushing off her designer dress. Her cheeks were flushed with humiliation, but she'd done it. Satisfied? She asked Marcus. It's a start. He set Emma down, taking her hand. Show me your yacht. The Aurora's navigation center was a graveyard of dark screens and silent equipment. Marcus moved through the space with practiced efficiency, his single eye taking in details that 25 teams had apparently missed. Stay right here, okay, baby? He settled Emma in the captain's chair with a coloring book from her backpack. Daddy needs to look at something. Is it the princess's broken ship? Marcus glanced at Sophia, who stood rigidly by the door. Something like that. He approached the main console, running his fingers along the familiar interface. It was like meeting an old friend who'd aged badly, recognizable but wrong. When exactly did the system fail? 3 weeks ago. We were sailing north from Seattle. Perfect weather. No warning, everything just died. Where were you planning to go? Anywhere. Sophia's voice was flat. Away from cameras, reporters, my ex-husband's smug face on every financial news channel. Marcus opened an access panel beneath the console. Running from the divorce. Running from the humiliation. Sophia moved closer, watching him work. Daniel made sure everyone knew he left me for his 26-year-old assistant. He controlled the narrative. Poor Daniel trapped in a loveless marriage with the Ice Queen. Finally found real love with sweet little Ashley. Was it loveless? Does it matter he won? The court of public opinion convicted me before I even had a chance to speak. Marcus pulled out a flashlight, illuminating the complex wiring inside the panel. So you took the yacht and ran. The Aurora was a wedding gift. It's the one thing that was solely mine. Sophia's laugh was bitter. Or so I thought. Marcus froze. There, hidden behind the main processor housing, was a device that shouldn't exist. Small, black, roughly the size of a smartphone, wired directly into the system's core communication bus. "What is it?" Sophia asked, noticing his stillness. Marcus didn't answer immediately. He was too busy staring at the logo embossed on the device's casing. A stylized H with a rising sun behind it. Hartwell Dynamics. "Ms. Hartwell, when did you have the navigation system serviced?" 2 weeks before the failure. Daniel recommended someone. Victor Shaw. Said he was the best in the business. Victor Shaw. Marcus pulled out his phone, photographing the device from multiple angles. "Did you watch him work?" "No, I was at a spa appointment." "Why?" Marcus straightened slowly, his eye meeting hers. "Because your ex-husband didn't just break your yacht. He sabotaged it." "What?" "This device." Marcus pointed to the hidden component. "It's not part of the original system. It's a parasite designed to intercept and override the Phoenix Protocol's core functions, probably triggered remotely when you reached a specific location." Sophia's face went pale. "That's not possible. Daniel is many things, but he wouldn't." "He would. He did. That's his company's logo right there." "No." Sophia shook her head. "Even Daniel wouldn't put my life at risk for what money power? The Phoenix Protocol is worth billions to the right buyer. The Navy has been desperate for a next-generation navigation system. Daniel's been chasing military contracts for years. You're saying he tried to kill me to steal your technology? I'm saying he sabotaged your yacht to create a backdoor into the Phoenix system. Whether he cared if you lived or died is a question only he can answer." Sophia grabbed the edge of the console, steadying herself. For a moment, Marcus thought she might faint. 5 years, she whispered. 5 years of marriage. I gave him everything. My career, my connections, my reputation. And he used our wedding gift to spy on navigation software. Not spy, steal. Marcus began carefully disconnecting the device. The Phoenix Protocol has proprietary algorithms that can't be reverse-engineered from the user interface. But with physical access to the core system, with a device like this, recording every operation, he could extract your code. Exactly. Sophia's shock was transforming into something colder, harder. Marcus recognized the look. He'd seen it in his own mirror years ago when the corporate world had taken everything he loved. "That bastard," Sophia said softly. "Ms. Hartwell." "Sophia." Her voice was steel now. "If we're going to discuss how my ex-husband tried to murder me to steal from you, we should use first names." "Sophia." Marcus pocketed the disconnected device. "I can restore your yacht's systems, but Daniel will know something went wrong. He'll send people." "Let him. You don't understand. I have a daughter." Marcus looked toward Emma, who was happily coloring in the captain's chair. "I left the tech world to protect her, to give her a normal life. If Daniel finds out I'm here, then we make sure he doesn't." "How?" Sophia's smile was cold. "My ex-husband thinks he's the smartest person in every room. That arrogance is his weakness. He won't expect resistance from a fishing town mechanic and his bitter ex-wife." "I'm not a soldier, Sophia. I'm an engineer, a father. And I'm not a victim." Sophia straightened, and for the first time, Marcus saw the woman who had conquered Wall Street before she was 35. "Daniel took everything from me. My reputation, my dignity, my faith in the institution of marriage. I'll be damned if he takes my safety too." Before Marcus could respond, his phone buzzed. An email notification. from an address he hadn't seen in 3 years. Carter@marinedynamics.com. His old work email, the one that should have been deactivated when he sold his shares. The subject line made his blood run cold. "They know you're in Crescent Cove. Get out now." Marcus opened the email with trembling fingers. A single line of text: Victor Shaw is already on his way. He's not coming to fix boats. The girl is leverage. A friend. "Daddy." Emma's voice came from across the room. "Why do you look scared?" Marcus shoved the phone in his pocket. "I'm not scared, sweetheart." "You are. You look like when the doctors talked about Mommy." The innocent observation hit like a physical blow. Sophia was watching him with sharp eyes. "What happened?" "We need to leave." Marcus was already moving toward Emma. "Now." "Why? What's going on?" "Someone's coming. Someone who works for your ex-husband." Marcus lifted Emma from the chair. "They know I'm here. They know about the device." "How is that possible? I just learned about it myself." "I don't know, but I'm not staying to find out." Marcus headed for the door. "Get your yacht seaworthy. If Daniel is sending Victor Shaw, we might need to disappear fast." "Disappear to where?" "Open water. It's the only place we'll have the advantage." Sophia didn't move. "You're asking me to trust you, a man I met an hour ago. And you're asking me to save your life." Marcus met her gaze. "I'd say we're even." A long moment stretched between them. Emma clung to Marcus's neck, sensing the adult tension she couldn't understand. "Daddy, I'm scared." "I know, baby, but everything's going to be okay. Promise." Marcus looked at Sophia, at the stolen device in his pocket, at the yacht that had become a battleground in a war he'd never wanted to fight. "I promise." It was a promise he wasn't sure he could keep. But he'd spent 4 years learning to be a good father, and good fathers didn't let their children see them break. Sophia made her decision. "I'll start the engine protocols. We can be underway in 20 minutes. Make it 15. That's not... Victor Shaw is ex-military, private security specialist. If he's already on his way, 15 minutes might be all we have." Sophia's eyes widened. "You know him." "He tried to break into my apartment in Seattle 3 years ago. Left when he realized Emma was sleeping in the next room." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Even mercenaries have some lines they won't cross. But he's been chasing Daniel's bounty ever since. $4 million for the Phoenix Protocol algorithms." $4 million? Sophia breathed. "For computer code." "For computer code that can make stealth naval vessels invisible to every detection system on Earth. Yeah, $4 million is a discount." They moved through the yacht with urgent purpose, Sophia racing to the bridge while Marcus gathered anything that could serve as a weapon fire extinguisher, emergency flares, a heavy flashlight. "Daddy?" Emma's small voice trembled. "Are we going on an adventure?" Marcus forced a smile. "Yes, baby. A big adventure." "With the princess?" He looked toward the bridge where Sophia was initiating startup sequences with surprising competence. "Yeah, with the princess." The yacht's engines rumbled to life. Through the bridge windows, Marcus could see Crescent Cove's small harbor, peaceful and unsuspecting. His peaceful life was over. The past he'd run from had found him. But this time, he wasn't alone. This time, he had something to fight for. And God help anyone who threatened his daughter. The Aurora was clear of the harbor when Marcus saw the black SUV screech into the marina parking lot. A man stepped out. Tall. Military bearing. Scanning the docks with professional efficiency. Victor Shaw. Marcus watched through binoculars as Shaw approached Bill Thompson, the harbor master. Words were exchanged. Thompson pointed toward the empty berth where the Aurora had been moored minutes earlier. Shaw's head snapped toward the open water. Even from this distance, Marcus could see the fury in his posture. "He's too late," Sophia said from the helm. "We're already gone." "We're not gone. We're just ahead." Marcus lowered the binoculars. He'll find a boat. Follow us. Then we go faster. The Aurora tops out at 30 knots. Shaw will find something faster. So what do we do? Marcus looked at the navigation console, now functioning again with the sabotage device removed. The Phoenix protocol hummed beneath his fingertips, familiar as his own heartbeat. We don't outrun him. We outsmart him. How? Marcus pulled up a chart of the coastal waters. There's a channel 15 miles north. Narrow, shallow, treacherous if you don't know the rocks. I've been fishing there for 3 years. And if Shaw knows it too? He doesn't. Marcus began plotting a course. The locals call it the graveyard. Even the fishing boats avoid it. But the Aurora's draft is shallow enough if we time the tide right. Sophia studied the chart, her expression skeptical. You're betting our lives on a fishing channel. I'm betting our lives on the fact that Daniel Hartwell has never set foot in water he couldn't buy. Marcus met her eyes. He hires people like Shaw because he doesn't understand places like Crescent Cove. People like the locals who fish those waters every day. That's his blind spot. And if you're wrong, then we find out if Victor Shaw's lines about children still apply. Emma appeared in the bridge doorway, clutching her coloring book. Daddy, the water is making the boat bounce. I know, sweetheart. It's a little rough out here. Marcus opened his arm and she ran to him. But we're on an adventure, remember? I remember. Emma looked at Sophia. Are you coming on the adventure too? Sophia hesitated. Then unexpectedly she smiled, the first genuine smile Marcus had seen from her. Apparently I am. Good. Emma nodded solemnly. Adventures are better with more people. Mommy always said that. Marcus felt his throat tighten. Rachel had said that. On their last vacation together before the diagnosis, before everything fell apart. Your mommy was right, Sophia said softly. Behind them, Crescent Cove disappeared into the coastal haze. Ahead, the open water stretched toward an uncertain horizon. Somewhere back there, Victor Shaw was preparing his pursuit, and in the Aurora's bridge, a one-eyed mechanic, a disgraced billionaire, and a 7-year-old girl sailed toward a future none of them could have predicted. Marcus tightened his arm around Emma. Whatever came next, they'd face it together. The Aurora cut through open water for nearly an hour before Emma fell asleep in the captain's chair, her coloring book clutched to her chest like a security blanket. Marcus watched her breathing slow, her small face finally peaceful after the chaos of their escape. She looked so much like Rachel when she slept. The same curve of the cheek, the same way her lips parted slightly. She's beautiful. He turned to find Sophia watching them both, her expression unreadable. She's everything, Marcus said simply. Is that why you left the tech world, I mean? For her. Marcus checked the radar screen before answering. Still clear. No sign of pursuit yet. But he knew Victor Shaw. The man was patient, methodical. He wouldn't give up. I left because I had no choice. Rachel was dying. Emma was 3 years old. And every day I spent in that office was a day I wasn't with my family. The company couldn't give you leave. Marcus laughed bitterly. The company wanted my algorithms. That's all they ever wanted. When Daniel made his acquisition offer, he didn't care about the employees, the legacy, any of it. He wanted Phoenix, and he was willing to destroy everything else to get it. So you refused to sell? I refused to hand over the core code. The algorithms that make Phoenix actually work. They're not in any database, any backup system. They're here. He tapped his temple. And here. He touched his chest. Rachel and I developed them together. Late nights, weekends, years of our lives. I wasn't going to let Daniel Hartwell turn our dream into a weapon. Sophia was quiet for a moment. Daniel told me you were a bitter ex-employee, that you refused to honor your contract out of spite, and you believed him. I believed my husband. That's what wives do. Her voice carried an edge of self-mockery. Or what I thought wives did. Turns out I was just another asset in his portfolio. When did you find out about the affair? 6 months ago. Ashley, his assistant, she accidentally sent me a text meant for him. Very explicit, very detailed. Sophia's hands tightened on the wheel. I confronted him that night. He didn't even deny it. Just said that our marriage had served its purpose, and it was time to restructure. Restructure. Corporate speak for, I'm done with you. Sophia stared ahead at the gray water. I gave him 5 years. Helped him build Hartwell Dynamics from a startup into a Fortune 500 company. Hosted his parties, charmed his investors, played the perfect wife. And when he was finished using me, he threw me away like your daughter's paper airplane. The comparison hung in the air between them. Marcus remembered Sophia's cruelty on the dock, the casual destruction of something precious to a child. He understood it differently now. Not excused it, but understood it. Hurt people, he said quietly. Is that forgiveness? It's an observation. I don't deserve forgiveness. Sophia's voice dropped. I saw your daughter's face when I threw that airplane. I knew what I was doing. I just didn't care. I was so angry at the world, so desperate to make someone else feel as small as Daniel made me feel. You apologized. Because you forced me to. But you meant it. At the end. I could tell. Sophia didn't respond. But Marcus saw her shoulders relax slightly, some invisible weight shifting. Your wife, she said after a long pause. The accident. What happened? Marcus's hand went to his eye patch. The gesture had become unconscious over the years, a physical tic that emerged whenever Rachel came up. We were testing a new version of Phoenix. Enhanced sensors, better integration, faster processing. The kind of upgrade that could have saved thousands of lives in search and rescue operations. His voice grew distant. Something went wrong with the power coupling. We still don't know exactly what. 1 second we were reviewing data, the next. Fire everywhere. And Rachel? She pushed Emma out of the room. Emma had come to visit Rachel, wanted to show her where Mommy worked. 3 years old, excited to see the pretty computers and blinking lights. Marcus's throat tightened. Rachel got her to safety, but she went back for me. I was trapped under debris, unconscious. She pulled me out. She saved your life. And lost hers. The smoke inhalation was too severe. She held on for 3 days in the hospital. Just long enough to tell Emma she loved her. Just long enough to make me promise. Promise what? Marcus looked at his sleeping daughter. That I'd protect her. That I'd give her a normal life. That I wouldn't let the work consume me the way it consumed us. Is that why you moved to Crescent Cove, to keep that promise? I moved to Crescent Cove because no one there knew my name. No corporate headhunters, no tech journalists, no Daniel Hartwell sending his mercenaries to steal my work. Marcus checked the radar again. Still clear. For 3 years it worked. Emma had school friends, a community that treated her like one of their own. I had the repair shop, simple work that kept my hands busy and my mind quiet. And now Daniel's found me anyway, and everything I built is about to come crashing down. The radar beeped. Marcus's blood ran cold. What is it? Sophia asked. Contact. Coming fast from the southeast. He studied the screen. Small vessel, high speed. Military or law enforcement profile. Shaw? Or someone he hired. Marcus began adjusting their course. The graveyard is 8 miles ahead. If we can reach it before they intercept us. What's our speed? 28 knots. They're doing at least 40. Sophia did the math. They'll catch us in less than 20 minutes. I know. So what do we do? Marcus looked at Emma, still sleeping peacefully, then at Sophia, whose fear was finally breaking through her carefully maintained composure. Then at the radar screen where the hostile contact was closing the distance with terrifying efficiency. We don't let them catch us. He pushed the throttle to maximum. The Aurora surged forward, her powerful engines roaring to life. Emma stirred but didn't wake. This ship wasn't built for running, Sophia said. No, but she was built with Phoenix. Marcus's fingers flew across the navigation console. And I know things about this system that Daniel never learned. Like what? Like there's an emergency protocol buried in the code. Something Rachel and I added for exactly this kind of situation. What kind of protocol? Marcus pulled up a hidden menu that shouldn't have existed on the standard interface. We called it Ghost Mode. It cuts all electronic emissions radar radio transponder, makes the ship invisible to remote tracking. I never knew that was possible. It's not, officially. We never documented it because we knew someone like Daniel would try to weaponize it. Marcus initiated the sequence. But it saved my life before. I'm hoping it will again. The yacht systems flickered momentarily, then stabilized. On the external radar, Marcus watched their own signature disappear. Did it work? From their perspective, we just vanished. He adjusted course again, angling toward the treacherous channel ahead. But Ghost Mode has limits. We can't use navigation aids, depth sensors, anything that emits a signal. We're flying blind. Into a channel called the Graveyard. Into a channel I've fished 100 times. I know every rock, every current, every shallow spot. Marcus met her eyes. Trust me. Sophia held his gaze for a long moment. Whatever she saw there seemed to satisfy her. I trust you. The pursuing vessel continued on its original course, searching for a ship that no longer existed on their instruments. Marcus watched them pass 2 miles to the east, still hunting, still dangerous, but temporarily blind. They'll figure it out eventually, he said. Shaw's too smart to be fooled for long, but it buys us time. Time for what? Time to disappear properly. The entrance to the graveyard appeared ahead, marked by jagged rocks that broke the surface like ancient teeth. Most captains would turn back at the sight. The channel's reputation was well earned. A dozen wrecks littered its bottom, monuments to hubris and poor judgment. But Marcus had spent 3 years learning its secrets. The fishing boat captains of Crescent Cove had taught him the safe passages, the timing of the tides, the subtle currents that could carry a skilled navigator through unscathed. He just had to hope that knowledge still applied to a luxury yacht with twice the draft. Hold on, he said. The Aurora entered the graveyard. For the next 30 minutes, Marcus navigated by memory and instinct. He called out depth estimates. Sophia made the adjustments, and together they threaded through obstacles that would have torn lesser vessels apart. Emma woke during a particularly rough patch, her eyes wide with fear. Daddy? I'm here, sweetheart. The boat is shaking. I know, we're in a special secret passage. Only the bravest captains know how to sail through it. Are you a brave captain? Marcus smiled despite the tension. The bravest. Your mommy always said so. Emma considered this. Okay, but I don't like the shaking. It'll stop soon, I promise. Sophia glanced at him. You're good at that. At what? Making her feel safe, even when... She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. It's all I have left of Rachel, Marcus said quietly. The ability to be what Emma needs. Whatever else I've lost, I won't lose that. The channel widened ahead. The rocks fell away. The water deepened. They were through. Marcus cut the engines to idle, letting the Aurora drift in the suddenly calm waters. Behind them, the graveyard stood like a wall, impassable to anyone who didn't know its secrets. We made it, Sophia breathed. For now. Marcus checked the radar. No contacts. Shaw had lost them. There's a cove about 2 miles ahead. We can anchor there, figure out our next move. Next move, we're safe now, aren't we? We're hidden. That's not the same thing. Marcus pulled up the chart. Daniel knows you have the Aurora. He knows I'm involved. He won't stop just because he's lost track of us. So what do? We need leverage. Something to make Daniel back off permanently. Like what? Like evidence. Marcus reached into his pocket and pulled out the sabotage device he'd removed from the navigation system. This proves he sabotaged your yacht. But by itself, it's not enough. He could claim ignorance, blame Shaw, distance himself. Then we need more. We need documentation, internal communications project files, anything that connects Daniel directly to the theft of Phoenix. Sophia's expression sharpened, the Wall Street strategist emerging from behind the wounded wife. I have contacts, people who owe me favors. George Wilson, my former mentor, he's been digging into Daniel's business practices since the divorce. Can you trust him? He's the only one who stood by me when the scandal broke, the only one who didn't believe Daniel's lies. Sophia pulled out her phone. No signal out here. We'll have signal at the cove. Make the call then. The anchor dropped in the sheltered waters of the hidden cove as the sun began to set. Emma was hungry, so Sophia found food in the galley while Marcus secured the yacht and set up a watch rotation. For a few hours they existed in a strange bubble of normalcy. Emma ate dinner, told Sophia about her school and her friends and her daddy's repair shop. Sophia listened with an attention that surprised Marcus' genuine interest, not the polished social performance he'd expected. Do you have kids? Emma asked, her mouth full of pasta. Emma, don't talk with food in your mouth. Sorry, Daddy. She swallowed. Do you? Sophia's smile flickered. No, I don't. Why not? Emma. It's okay. Sophia set down her fork. I wanted children, very much, but my husband, my ex-husband, he always said the timing wasn't right. His career was more important. There was always another deal, another acquisition, another reason to wait. That's sad, Emma said simply. Kids are fun. Daddy says I'm the funnest. Most fun, Marcus corrected automatically. Most fun, Emma agreed. You could borrow me sometimes if you want. Daddy says sharing is important. Sophia's eyes glistened. She blinked rapidly, looking away. That's very generous, Emma. Thank you. Marcus watched the exchange with a strange feeling in his chest. Something he hadn't felt in years. Something he wasn't ready to name. After dinner, Emma's eyes grew heavy. Marcus carried her to one of the guest cabins, tucked her in, and sat beside her until she fell asleep. When he returned to the main salon, Sophia was staring at her phone. Signal, he asked. 2 bars. I called George. And he's found something. Sophia's voice was tight. Internal emails from Hartwell Dynamics, communications between Daniel and his head of security about a project called Prometheus. Prometheus? That's the internal name for their new navigation system, the one Daniel promised the Navy. Sophia met his eyes. The emails reference the Cole algorithms directly. They discuss strategies for obtaining them corporate espionage blackmail threats. They named me, not by name, but the context is clear. They also mention Victor Shaw's assignment to locate and secure the intellectual property by any means necessary. Marcus sat down heavily. That's it. That's the evidence we need. There's more. Sophia hesitated. George found a communication dated 3 days ago, from Daniel to Shaw directly. What did it say? The girl is leverage. The father will cooperate to protect her. Cold fury flooded Marcus's veins. They're planning to use Emma. They were planning to. Before we ran. Sophia's expression hardened. Daniel crossed a line. Threatening me is one thing. Threatening a child. He won't get near her. No, he won't. Sophia stood pacing. George is compiling everything. He'll have a complete file by morning. Once we have it, we can go public. Release the documents to the press, the Navy, everyone. And destroy Daniel completely. That's the idea. Marcus shook his head slowly. It's not enough. What do you mean? I mean Daniel has resources we can't imagine. Lawyers, PR teams, political connections. He'll fight the story, bury it in counter-accusations, drag it out for years. Marcus stared at the dark water visible through the windows. And meanwhile, Emma and I will be targets. Witnesses who need to be silenced. So what's the alternative? We need Daniel to back off voluntarily, to decide that the risk of pursuing this isn't worth the reward. How do we make that happen? Marcus was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was heavy. The Phoenix Protocol has a failsafe, something I built in years ago and never told anyone about. Not even Rachel. What kind of failsafe? If the core algorithms detect an unauthorized replication attempt, they trigger a cascade corruption. Every system using Phoenix, every vessel, every installation, they all fail simultaneously. Sophia stared at him. You're talking about sabotaging the entire Navy contract. I'm talking about having the ability to do it. Marcus met her gaze. Daniel doesn't know about the failsafe. But if I tell him it exists, if I convince him that any attempt to steal or replicate Phoenix will result in catastrophic failure, he'll have to back off. He'll have no choice. His entire business model is built on that Navy contract. He can't risk losing it. And if he doesn't believe you, then I trigger it, and Daniel loses everything. The implications hung between them enormous and terrifying. You'd destroy your own creation, Sophia said softly. Everything you and Rachel built. I'd destroy a corrupted version of it. The real Phoenix, the algorithms in my head, those stay with me. And maybe someday, when the world is ready, when there are people I can trust to use it right, you'd start over. I've done it before. Marcus looked toward the cabin where Emma slept. I'd do anything to protect her. Anything. Sophia was quiet for a long time. When she finally spoke, her voice was different, softer, almost vulnerable. I've never met anyone like you, Marcus Cole. Is that good or bad? I don't know yet. She stepped closer. But I think I'm starting to understand why my ex-husband was so afraid of you. Daniel's not afraid of me. Yes, he is. That's why he's been hunting you for 3 years. That's why he sabotaged my yacht. That's why he's willing to threaten a 7-year-old girl. Sophia's eyes locked with his. You represent everything he can't control. Integrity principle, the willingness to walk away from fortune for the sake of what's right. That's not courage, that's just being a father. Maybe they're the same thing. The moment stretched between them. Marcus became aware of how close she was standing, of the subtle scent of salt and expensive perfume, of the way the low light caught the gold in her hair. It had been 4 years since Rachel. 4 years of grief and loneliness, and putting every ounce of energy into being Emma's father. He'd forgotten what it felt like to be seen as anything else. He stepped back. We should sleep in shifts, in case Shaw finds us. If Sophia was disappointed by his retreat, she didn't show it. I'll take first watch. You sure? I'm sure. She turned toward the bridge. Get some rest, Marcus. Tomorrow we end this. He watched her go, then made his way to the cabin next to Emma's. The bed was more comfortable than anything he'd slept on in years, but sleep didn't come easily. When it finally did, he dreamed of Rachel. She was standing on a dock, holding a paper airplane, smiling that smile that had made him fall in love with her 20 years ago. Protect her, Rachel said, and let yourself live again. Marcus woke to the gray light of dawn and the distant sound of Sophia's voice on the phone. He found her on the bridge, pacing, her expression tense. What is it? George just called. Sophia's voice was strained. Victor Shaw left Crescent Cove 3 hours ago. He's not alone. How many? 4 men, 2 boats. They're searching the coastline systematically. They're looking for the channel entrance. And they'll find it. George says Shaw has been hiring local fishermen, paying them for information. It's only a matter of time before someone talks. Marcus's mind raced. How long do we have? Hours. Maybe less. He looked toward Emma's cabin. She was still sleeping, innocent of the danger closing in around them. Then we don't have time for a document release. We don't have time for lawyers and press conferences. What are you saying? Marcus turned to face her fully. I'm saying we go straight to Daniel, face to face. Make him understand that if he doesn't back off, we burn everything down. That's insane. He'll never agree to meet. He will if we have something he wants. The algorithms, you'd never give them up. No. But I'd give him something else. Marcus pulled the sabotage device from his pocket. I'd give him Victor Shaw, on a platter, complete with evidence of everything Shaw's done on Daniel's orders. Understanding dawned on Sophia's face. You want to turn Shaw into the scapegoat. I want to give Daniel a choice. Sacrifice Shaw, blame everything on a rogue employee, save his company and his reputation. Or watch it all collapse when we release the documents and I trigger the failsafe. He'll choose himself. He always does. Exactly. Sophia was quiet, processing. Then, there's one problem. Shaw isn't going to voluntarily become a scapegoat. No, he isn't. Marcus's eye hardened. Which means we need to give Daniel the evidence without Shaw's cooperation. How? Marcus looked at the navigation console, at the Phoenix protocol humming quietly beneath the surface. Shaw's boats are using commercial GPS, standard systems, nothing special. A grim smile crossed his face. But they're still connected to maritime networks, and I know those networks very, very well. You can track them. I can do more than track them. Marcus began typing commands. I can lead them exactly where I want them to go. Marcus worked in silence for 20 minutes, his fingers flying across the navigation console with the precision of a surgeon. Sophia watched, understanding little of the technical details, but recognizing the intensity of focus that marked genuine expertise. What exactly are you doing? Shaw's boats are using Garmin Marine GPS, standard commercial units with network connectivity for weather updates and emergency services. Marcus pulled up a secondary screen. Those connections are two-way. They receive data, but they also transmit. So you can see where they are. I can see everything. Speed, heading, fuel consumption, and more importantly, I can inject false data into their navigation stream. Sophia's eyes widened. You can make them think they're somewhere they're not. I can make them think the graveyard has a safe passage where it doesn't. Marcus's expression was grim. Lead them straight onto the rocks. That would kill them. That's why I'm not going to do it. He adjusted his approach. But I can lead them to a different location, somewhere isolated where we have the advantage. Where? Marcus pulled up a chart. There's an abandoned Coast Guard station about 15 miles north, decommissioned 10 years ago. The dock is still functional, but there's only one approach by water, one way in, one way out. A kill box. A negotiation venue. Marcus met her eyes. I'm not a murderer, Sophia. I'm an engineer, but Shaw doesn't need to know the difference. And if negotiation fails, then we execute Plan B, which is still working on that. Emma's voice came from behind them. Daddy, I'm hungry. Marcus forced the tension from his face before turning. Morning, sweetheart. Did you sleep okay? The boat was too quiet. At home I can hear the seagulls. We're in a special hiding spot. The seagulls haven't found us yet. Emma considered this with the solemnity of a judge. Okay, but I want pancakes. Sophia surprised them both by laughing. I'll see what I can find in the galley. You two stay here. She brushed past Marcus on her way out, and for just a moment her hand touched his arm. A gesture of solidarity, of shared purpose. Then she was gone. Daddy, is the princess nice now? Marcus knelt to Emma's level. I think she's trying to be. Sometimes grown-ups forget how to be nice and they have to learn again. Like when Tommy Hendricks pushed me at recess and then said sorry. Exactly like that. Okay. Emma seemed satisfied. I like her better now. She has pretty hair. She does. Mommy had pretty hair too. The sudden shift hit Marcus like a physical blow, 4 years and he still wasn't prepared when Emma mentioned Rachel unexpectedly. Yes, she did, baby. The prettiest. I don't remember what it looked like. Not really. Emma's voice was small. I try to remember, but it gets fuzzy. Marcus pulled her into a hug, hiding his own tears in her hair. That's okay, sweetheart. That's normal. But I remember for both of us. And whenever you want to know, you just ask, and I'll tell you everything. Tell me one thing now, before pancakes. Okay, one thing. Marcus pulled back, looking into eyes that were so like Rachel's, it made his heart ache. Your mommy used to brush her hair exactly 100 times every night. She said it was good luck, and every night you would sit on the bed and count with her. I would. You could only count to 10 back then, so we'd start over after every 10 brushes. Emma smiled. That's silly. Your mommy loved silly. I love silly too. I know you do. Marcus kissed her forehead. That's because you're just like her. Sophia appeared in the doorway, her expression tight. Marcus, you need to see this. He followed her to the bridge, leaving Emma exploring the captain's chair for the 100th time. What is it? Sophia pointed to the radar screen. They're moving, all of them. Shaw's boats just changed course. Marcus studied the display. 2 contacts moving in formation, heading directly toward the graveyard's entrance. Someone talked, one of the fishermen. They'll be through the channel in an hour, maybe less if they know the route. Marcus felt the clock ticking in his bones. An hour to prepare, an hour to turn the tables on a trained mercenary with military resources and no moral compass. I need to make a call. To who? An old friend. Someone who owes me a favor. He pulled out his phone, scrolling through contacts he hadn't used in years, found the name he was looking for. Tom Bradley, former Navy SEAL, current owner of a maritime security firm, and the man whose daughter Marcus had helped rescue from a capsized sailboat 2 years ago using a prototype Phoenix beacon that shouldn't have existed outside his workshop. The phone rang 3 times before a gruff voice answered. This better be good. It's 6 a.m. Tom, it's Marcus Cole. A pause. Then, Marcus, Jesus, I thought you were dead. Not yet, but I might be soon if you can't help me. What do you need? I need you to contact the Coast Guard station in Portland. Tell them there's a distress situation developing at the old Lighthouse Point facility. Armed individuals pursuing a civilian vessel with a child aboard. That's a hell of an ask, Marcus. The bureaucracy alone. Tom, your daughter is alive because of me. You told me once you'd do anything to repay that debt. I remember. This is the anything. I need the Coast Guard here within 2 hours, armed and authorized. Can you do it? Another pause. When Tom spoke again, his voice was all business. I can do it, but if this goes sideways, it won't. And Tom. The man pursuing me is Victor Shaw. Private security ex-military. He's working for Hartwell Dynamics. Shaw. The name came out like a curse. I know that piece of work. We served together briefly, before he went private and lost whatever soul he had. He's threatening my daughter, a 7-year-old girl. Christ. Tom's disgust was audible. All right, Marcus, I'll make the calls, but you need to stay alive long enough for backup to arrive. Working on it. And Marcus, if you need to put Shaw down, don't hesitate. Men like him don't respond to anything but force. The call ended. Sophia was staring at him. You have military contacts. I have friends. There's a difference. Friends who can mobilize the Coast Guard in 2 hours. Friends who remember when I helped them. Marcus moved to the helm. We need to move. Get to Lighthouse Point before Shaw realizes where we're going. What about the GPS manipulation leading them to the wrong location? Change of plan. We let them follow us, but we control the battleground. That's insane. It's our only option. Marcus began engine startup procedures. Tom's getting us backup, but they won't arrive in time if Shaw catches us in open water. We need a defensive position, somewhere we can hold until the cavalry arrives. And if the cavalry doesn't arrive, Marcus looked at her. Then I trigger the failsafe and destroy Phoenix forever. Daniel loses everything. Shaw's mission becomes pointless, and maybe he decides we're not worth killing. That's a lot of maybes. Welcome to my life for the last 3 years. The Aurora moved out of the cove, heading north toward Lighthouse Point. Marcus pushed the engines to their limits, knowing that every minute counted. Emma settled into her spot in the captain's chair, somehow sensing that the adults needed her to stay quiet. She held her coloring book, but didn't draw. Just watched the water pass, with eyes too serious for a 7-year-old. Daddy? Yes, sweetheart. Are the bad men coming? Marcus hesitated. He'd always promised to be honest with Emma. Rachel had insisted on it. No secrets with children, she'd say. They know when you're lying. They just don't understand why. Yes, baby. The bad men are coming. Will they hurt us? They're going to try, but I won't let them. Promise? Promise. Emma nodded solemnly. Then, I'm not scared. You're not. You protected me from the fire. When Mommy couldn't. You always protect me. Marcus's vision blurred. The faith in his daughter's voice, the absolute trust, it was the most terrifying thing he'd ever experienced. Because it meant he couldn't fail. Failure wasn't an option when your child believed in you with that completeness. I'll always protect you, Emma. Always. I know. She returned to her coloring book. Can we have ice cream after the bad men go away? Despite everything, Marcus laughed. Yes, baby. All the ice cream you want? Lighthouse Point appeared on the horizon 45 minutes later. The abandoned Coast Guard station stood on a rocky promontory, its dock extending into a natural harbor that offered protection from the open sea. And more importantly, a single narrow approach that any attacking vessel would have to navigate under full observation. Marcus guided the Aurora into the harbor, killing the engines as they reached the dock. Sophia jumped out to secure the mooring lines, moving with an efficiency that surprised him. You've done this before? Daniel insisted I learn basic seamanship. Said it was embarrassing to own a yacht and need crew for everything. She pulled the line tight. Funny how his demands are finally becoming useful. They worked quickly, securing the Aurora and moving essential supplies to the station building. Marcus found an elevated position with a clear view of the approach channel. How long until Shaw arrives? Sophia asked. Marcus checked his phone. 40 minutes based on their last position, maybe less if they push their engines. And the Coast Guard? Tom said 2 hours. That was an hour ago. So we need to hold for at least an hour. Yes. Sophia looked at him with an expression he couldn't read. I've never been in a situation like this. Board meetings, hostile takeovers, legal battles, yes. But people with guns trying to kill me. They're not trying to kill you. Not primarily. They want me. They want Phoenix. And you think Daniel will just let me walk away? After everything I've seen? Marcus didn't answer. They both knew the truth. Then we fight together, Sophia said. Tell me what to do. Marcus assessed their position. The station building was solid concrete, built to withstand coastal storms. Good cover if shooting started. The dock was exposed but necessary. They needed the Aurora ready for emergency departure if everything went wrong. Emma stays in the back room, away from windows, away from doors. There's a basement access hatch in the kitchen. If things go bad, you take her down there, and you don't come out until you hear Coast Guard identification. And you? I'll be on the roof, best vantage point. With what your good looks? Marcus reached into the Aurora's emergency kit and pulled out a flare gun. Not exactly a weapon, but it'll slow them down if they try to rush the building. That's your plan, Flares. That's my distraction. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the sabotage device. This is my weapon. I don't understand. This device is still connected to Shaw's communication network. It was designed to transmit data back to Hartwell Dynamics, which means it can also receive. Receive what? A message. Marcus began typing on his phone. From me to Daniel, explaining exactly what will happen if his mercenaries don't stand down. You're going to negotiate. Now, while they're bearing down on us. Best time to negotiate is when your opponent thinks he's winning. That's when they're most likely to overplay their hand. Marcus finished typing and hit send. The message would route through the sabotage device through Hartwell Dynamics' encrypted network directly to Daniel's personal systems. Now he just had to wait. Emma was settled in the back room, surrounded by emergency blankets and the remains of their breakfast supplies. She'd accepted the situation with a calm that broke Marcus's heart. A child too accustomed to upheaval, too practiced at trusting her father to navigate impossible circumstances. Daddy has to do some grown-up stuff, he told her. Sophia's going to stay with you, but I'll be right upstairs. If you need me, just call out. Okay. Emma clutched her coloring book. Daddy? Yes, sweetheart? I love you. I love you too, baby. More than anything. He kissed her forehead and left, forcing himself not to look back. If he looked back, he might not have the strength to do what needed to be done. On the roof, Marcus had a clear view of the approach channel. And 15 minutes later, he saw them coming. 2 boats. Black hulls, high profiles. Moving fast but not recklessly, professionals who knew the territory they were entering. Shaw had done his homework. Marcus's phone buzzed. A response to his message. Daniel Hartwell's words glowed on the screen. You have nothing to negotiate with. Shaw has orders to retrieve the algorithms by any means necessary. Surrender now, and I'll ensure the girl isn't harmed. Marcus typed back, I have everything to negotiate with. The Phoenix failsafe is armed. One command from me and every installation using the protocol, including your Navy test systems, goes dark, permanently. A pause. Then, you're bluffing. Test me. Tell Shaw to fire a single shot at this building. See what happens to your billion-dollar contract. The boats had reached the harbor entrance now. They slowed, maintaining position just outside the approach channel. Marcus could see figures on the decks. 4 men on each boat, armed, alert, waiting for orders. Another message from Daniel. What do you want? I want Shaw gone, recalled, immediately. I want a signed statement from you acknowledging that the Phoenix Protocol is my intellectual property, and I want assurance that my daughter will never be threatened again. Those are significant demands. Your sabotage device almost killed your ex-wife. Your mercenary is threatening a 7-year-old. My demands are proportional. And if I agree, what happens to the evidence Sophia has gathered? It stays sealed, unused, unless you violate our agreement. How do I know you'll honor that? Because unlike you, Daniel, I don't lie. I don't cheat. I don't steal. Marcus watched the boat still holding position. And because destroying you gains me nothing. I just want to be left alone. I just want to raise my daughter in peace. Give me that, and you never hear from me again. The longest pause yet. Marcus could imagine Daniel in his corner office, weighing options, calculating risks. Finally, I need time to consider. You have 5 minutes. Then I trigger the failsafe and we both lose everything. Marcus lowered the phone. Waited. The boats remained motionless. Shaw was clearly in communication with Daniel, receiving instructions, preparing for either outcome. 3 minutes. 4. Marcus's finger hovered over the phone, ready to send the command that would destroy his life's work forever. Then the boats began to move. Not forward, backward, retreating from the harbor entrance. Turning, heading south. His phone buzzed. Agreed. Shaw is standing down. My lawyers will contact you within 48 hours with the documentation you requested. The girl will not be harmed. You have my word. Marcus watched the boats disappear around the point, his heart pounding so hard he could hear it in his ears. It was over. Somehow, impossibly, it was over. He descended from the roof on shaking legs, finding Sophia in the hallway. Her face was pale, her hands trembling. "They're gone," he said. Daniel agreed to everything. Sophia stared at him. Just like that. Just like that. I can't." She stepped forward and wrapped her arms around him, burying her face in his chest. Marcus stood frozen for a moment, unsure how to respond. Then slowly, his arms came up to hold her. "We're okay," he said softly. "We're all okay." "I thought we were going to die. I thought Emma was going to." "I know. I thought so too." Sophia pulled back, looking up at him with wet eyes. "How did you do it? How did you stay so calm?" "I wasn't calm. I was terrified every single second." Marcus touched her face, wiping away a tear. "But Emma was counting on me. You were counting on me. I couldn't afford to fall apart." "Marcus! Daddy!" They separated quickly as Emma appeared in the doorway, her coloring book forgotten on the floor behind her. "Are the bad men gone?" Marcus knelt, opening his arms. Emma ran into them without hesitation. "The bad men are gone, sweetheart. They're not coming back." "We won. We won." Emma pulled back, looking at him with those serious eyes. "Can we have ice cream now?" Marcus laughed. Really laughed, the tension of the past days breaking like a wave. "Yes, baby. We can have ice cream now. All the ice cream in the world. The princess, too." Marcus looked up at Sophia, who was watching them with an expression of wonder and something else. Something deeper. The princess, too. An hour later, the Coast Guard arrived to find 3 people eating emergency ration cookies on the dock. A little girl telling a tall woman about her mommy's pretty hair, and a one-eyed man staring at the horizon with the look of someone who had walked through fire and somehow emerged on the other side. Tom Bradley called that evening, his gruff voice carrying a rare note of warmth. "Heard Shaw's boats turned tail. You want to tell me how you managed that?" I appealed to Daniel Hartwell's self-interest. "Must have been one hell of an appeal." "It was the truth. Sometimes that's enough." "Not in my experience." "Then maybe you've been dealing with the wrong people." Tom chuckled. "Maybe I have. Listen, Marcus, if you ever need anything again, I know where to find you." "And I know where to find you. Harbor Bay, right. Heard good things about the fishing there." "It's quiet. That's what I like about it." "Quiet sounds good. Maybe I'll visit sometime. Meet this daughter of yours." "She'd like that. She loves meeting new people. Unlike her father." "Unlike her father," Marcus agreed. "But I'm learning." After the call ended, Marcus found Sophia on the Aurora's deck, watching the stars emerge in the darkening sky. "Emma's asleep," she said. "I read her 3 stories. She made me promise to do voices." "She's particular about the voices." "I noticed." Sophia smiled. "She's amazing, Marcus. You've done an incredible job with her." "I've done my best. Some days that feels like enough. Other days you wonder if you're failing her." "Every single day." Sophia turned to face him. "You're not. Failing her, I mean. I've known that girl for less than a week, and I can already see how loved she is, how secure. That doesn't happen by accident." Marcus didn't know how to respond. Compliments about his parenting always threw him off balance. The fear of failure was so constant that praise felt unearned. "What happens now?" he asked instead. "Daniel's agreed to back off, but that doesn't solve your problems. The divorce, your reputation, your life in New York." Sophia was quiet for a moment. "I don't know if I want to go back to New York." "What about your career, your contacts? What about them?" She shrugged. "I spent 15 years building a reputation, and Daniel destroyed it in 15 days. All those contacts disappeared the moment I became inconvenient. George is the only one who stood by me." "So, what are you thinking?" Sophia looked out at the dark water. "I'm thinking that I've spent my whole life chasing things that don't matter. Power, prestige, the approval of people who never actually cared about me. She turned back to him. And in the past week I've discovered that what I actually want, what I've always wanted, is exactly what you have. Peace, purpose, people who matter. That's a big revelation. It's been a big week. They stood in comfortable silence, the yacht rocking gently beneath them. Emma asked if I would visit, Sophia said finally, after we get back to Harbor Bay. What did you tell her? I told her I'd like that very much. Marcus felt something shift in his chest, something that had been frozen for 4 years, slowly beginning to thaw. I'd like that too, he said quietly. Sophia smiled that real smile he'd only seen a few times, the one that transformed her entire face. Then I guess I'll be visiting. Above them, the stars continued their eternal dance, indifferent to the small human dramas unfolding beneath their light. But for Marcus Cole, standing on the deck of a yacht that had almost become his coffin, the universe felt suddenly full of possibility. For the first time since Rachel's death, he allowed himself to imagine a future that contained more than just survival, and that he decided was the greatest victory of all. The return to Crescent Cove felt different than the departure. 3 days ago, Marcus had fled the harbor with his daughter in his arms, and a stranger at the helm, pursued by mercenaries and haunted by ghosts. Now, he guided the Aurora back through familiar waters, with something he hadn't felt in years. Hope. Emma stood at the bow, pointing excitedly at the fishing boats heading out for the morning catch. Look, Daddy, that's Captain Ben's boat. And there's Mr. Murphy. The fishermen waved as they passed their weathered faces, breaking into surprised smiles at the sight of the massive yacht entering their modest harbor. Quite a welcome, Sophia observed. Small town, Marcus replied. News travels fast. What kind of news? The kind where the local mechanic ran off with the rich yacht lady and came back 3 days later. Sophia laughed, a genuine sound that Marcus was hearing more often now. I'm sure they have theories. Probably several. None of them accurate. Bill Thompson was waiting on the dock when they arrived, his arms crossed and his expression unreadable. Marcus Cole. Want to explain why the Coast Guard called me at 3 a.m, asking about armed men in my harbor. Marcus killed the engines and began securing mooring lines. Long story, Bill. I've got time. It involves corporate espionage, a stolen navigation system, and a tech billionaire with a grudge. Bill's eyebrows shot up. That's quite a story. It's the truth. Didn't say it wasn't. Bill helped secure the stern line. Mike's been worried sick about you. Whole town has, really, when you just vanished like that. I had to protect Emma. Some bad people were asking questions. Yeah, we noticed. Fancy suits, expensive cars. Asked about you at every shop in town. Bill's jaw tightened. Nobody told them nothing. Marcus felt a surge of gratitude. Thank you, Bill. All of you. We look after our own. Bill's gaze shifted to Sophia, who was helping Emma down the gangplank. She one of us now, too. Marcus watched Sophia steady Emma as the little girl jumped the last step onto the dock. I think she might be. Good. About time you had someone. Before Marcus could respond, Emma spotted something up the dock and let out a shriek of joy. Mike! She tore away from Sophia and sprinted toward the Lighthouse Cafe where Mike Thompson stood in the doorway. He caught her in a bear hug, lifting her off her feet. There she is, the adventurer returns. Mike, we went on a boat and there were bad men and Daddy fixed everything and the princess was really nice after she stopped being mean and we had cookies for dinner. Slow down, kiddo. You're going to give yourself a stroke. Marcus reached them, extending his hand. Mike ignored it and pulled him into a hug instead. You scared the hell out of me, brother. I know, I'm sorry. Don't be sorry, just don't do it again. Mike stepped back, his eyes glistening. Sarah's inside. She's been baking stress muffins since you left. I think we have about 40 dozen. 40 dozen? She copes through carbs. You know this. Emma tugged at Mike's sleeve. Can I have a muffin? Daddy said I could have ice cream, but we didn't find any. You can have all the muffins you want, sweetheart. Mike looked at Marcus. Bring your friend inside. We need to talk. The Lighthouse Cafe was empty, except for Sarah, who abandoned her baking the moment they entered, and wrapped first Emma, then Marcus in fierce hugs. Don't you ever, she said, tears streaming down her face, ever do that again. I won't, Sarah. I promise. You promised to be careful. You promised nothing would change. Some promises are meant to be broken. Marcus gestured to Sophia, who stood uncertainly by the door. Sarah, this is Sophia Hartwell. She owns the Aurora. Sarah wiped her eyes, studying the newcomer with the sharp assessment of a lifelong small-town resident. You're the one who crushed Emma's airplane. Sophia flinched. Yes, I am. And then you helped save her father's life. Yes, I tried. Sarah crossed to her and to everyone's surprise pulled her into a hug as well. Then you're welcome here. Sit down. I'll make coffee. And muffins. Have you eaten? You look like you haven't eaten in days. Sarah. Marcus started. Sit. All of you. Mike, get the good plates. They sat. Mike brought plates. Sarah brought muffins, coffee, eggs, bacon, and enough food to feed an army. Emma ate everything placed in front of her, chattering between bites about their adventure. Marcus watched Sophia navigate the unfamiliar territory of genuine hospitality, her corporate armor slowly dissolving in the face of Sarah's relentless warmth. So, Mike said, finally leaning back in his chair. What really happened? Marcus told them everything. The sabotage device, Daniel Hartwell, Victor Shaw, the chase through the graveyard, the standoff at Lighthouse Point, the negotiation that ended the threat. When he finished, Mike let out a low whistle. And I thought the biggest drama in Crescent Cove was when old Pete caught that 30-pound salmon. That was pretty dramatic, Marcus admitted. Not like this. This is... Mike shook his head. This is movie stuff, Marcus. Corporate espionage, Navy contracts, mercenaries. It's over now. Is it? Sarah asked quietly. Men like this Daniel Hartwell, they don't just give up. He doesn't have a choice. I have leverage he can't ignore. The algorithm thing. The failsafe. If he moves against me, against Emma, against anyone I care about, I destroy Phoenix. His Navy contract collapses his company's stock tanks. His reputation is finished. And he believes you'd do it? Marcus met Sarah's eyes. He should. I would. Sophia spoke for the first time since they sat down. Daniel is many things, but he's not stupid. He knows Marcus isn't bluffing. The risk isn't worth the reward anymore. You know him, Sarah said. You were married to him. For 5 years. I thought I understood him completely. Sophia's voice carried an edge of bitterness. Turns out I didn't understand anything. You understand now. I understand that I wasted a significant portion of my life on a man who saw me as an asset to be managed rather than a person to be loved. Sophia glanced at Marcus. And I understand that some people are exactly who they appear to be. No manipulation, no hidden agendas, just truth. The moment hung between them, weighted with meaning. Mike and Sarah exchanged knowing looks. Well, Mike said, breaking the tension, you're both welcome here as long as you need. Sarah's got guest rooms upstairs. Thank you, but we should go to the apartment. Marcus rose. Emma needs her own bed, her own routine. Daddy, can Sophia come see my room? Marcus looked at Sophia. Would you like to? I'd love to. They walked together through the familiar streets of Crescent Cove, Emma skipping ahead her trauma, seemingly forgotten in the joy of returning home. Marcus watched his daughter, marveling at the resilience of children. She seems okay, Sophia observed. Kids are survivors. They adapt faster than we do. I was thinking about what Bill said, about looking after your own. What about it? I've never experienced that. Community, I mean, real community where people care about each other without expecting anything in return. It's not perfect. Small towns have their problems. Gossip, pettiness, limited opportunities. But, Marcus smiled. But when you need help, they show up. When you're in trouble, they close ranks. When you're hurting, they bring casseroles. Casseroles. It's a thing, you'll see. They reached the apartment above the repair shop. Emma raced up the stairs, throwing open the door, and disappearing inside with a joyful shout. "Home, Daddy, we're home!" Marcus paused at the bottom of the stairs, looking up at the place that had been his refuge for 3 years. It looked different now, smaller somehow, or maybe he was larger. "Come on," he said to Sophia. "Let me show you where I live." The apartment was modest by any standard, certainly compared to the Aurora's luxury, but it was clean organized and filled with evidence of the life Marcus and Emma had built together. Sophia moved through the space, slowly taking in the details. Emma's artwork on the refrigerator, photos of Rachel on the bookshelf, the small dining table where father and daughter shared their meals. "This is my room." Emma grabbed Sophia's hand, dragging her toward the back of the apartment. "See, I have all my books and my dollhouse and my special shell collection." Sophia allowed herself to be pulled along, examining everything with genuine interest. "These shells are beautiful. Where did you find them all?" "Different beaches. Daddy takes me exploring on weekends. This one is from Secret Cove. You can't tell anyone where it is, because it's secret. And this one is from Lighthouse Point, from before the bad men came. And this one—" Emma paused, picking up a small pink shell from a place of honor on her windowsill. "This one was Mommy's. Daddy saved it for me." Sophia looked at the shell, then at Emma, then at the framed photo on the nightstand, a young woman with dark hair and a radiant smile holding a baby. "She was beautiful," Sophia said softly. "She was the most beautiful mommy in the world." Emma replaced the shell carefully. "Daddy says she's watching me from heaven. Do you think that's true?" Sophia knelt to the little girl's level. "I think the people who love us never really leave us. They live in our hearts forever. That's what Daddy says too. Your daddy is very wise. He's the smartest. He can fix anything." Emma leaned closer, lowering her voice conspiratorially. "But sometimes he gets sad. He doesn't think I notice, but I do." Sophia's eyes flickered toward the door where Marcus stood watching them. "What do you do when he's sad?" "I give him hugs, and I tell him I love him. And sometimes I make him laugh by doing silly dances." "That sounds like excellent medicine." "It is. Maybe you could help too. You make him smile different than usual." "I do." "Uh-huh. Like how he smiled at Mommy in the old videos." Marcus felt his throat tighten. His daughter's perception was terrifying sometimes. "Emma, it's almost time for your nap." "But I'm not tired. You've been running on adrenaline for 3 days. You need rest." "Daddy?" "No arguments. Say goodbye to Sophia." Emma pouted, but complied, giving Sophia a hug that lasted longer than Marcus expected. "Will you come back?" Emma asked. "If your daddy says it's okay." Emma looked at Marcus with pleading eyes. He managed a smile. "Sophia's always welcome here." Emma's pout transformed into a brilliant smile. "Good, because I like her. She's learning to be nice." After settling Emma for her nap, Marcus found Sophia in the living room studying the photo of Rachel. "She looks kind," Sophia said without turning around. She was. The kindest person I ever knew. Emma has her eyes. Her smile, too. Same mischief behind it. Sophia set down the photo carefully. "I should go. Let you rest. You haven't slept properly in days." "Where will you go?" "Back to the Aurora, I suppose. It's the only home I have at the moment." "You could stay here." The offer surprised them both. Marcus wasn't sure where it came from, instinct perhaps, or something deeper. I don't want to impose. The couch pulls out. It's not luxury yacht standards, but it's comfortable enough. Marcus, you saved my daughter's life. You stood with us when you could have walked away. He met her eyes. You're not imposing. You're family now, whether you like it or not. Sophia's composure cracked. Just a little. Just enough for Marcus to see the loneliness underneath. I don't know how to be family. Not the real kind. Not the kind that actually means something. Neither did I. Rachel taught me. She's not here to teach me. No, but Emma is. And trust me, that kid will give you a crash course in unconditional love, whether you're ready for it or not. A genuine laugh escaped Sophia. She's certainly determined. She gets that from her mother. And the fearlessness? Where does that come from? I have no idea. She sure as hell didn't get it from me. Sophia smiled, and something shifted between them. An understanding, a possibility. Okay, she said finally. I'll stay, just for tonight. Just for tonight, Marcus agreed. But they both knew it was more than that. The days that followed fell into an unexpected rhythm. Sophia stayed, not just one night, but 2, then 3. She helped Emma with breakfast while Marcus opened the repair shop. She explored Crescent Cove with the wide-eyed curiosity of a tourist discovering a hidden gem. She learned the names of the fishing boats, the best time to catch the sunset, the secret menu items at the Lighthouse Cafe, and slowly, imperceptibly, she became part of the fabric of their lives. She's different with you. Mike observed one afternoon watching Sophia help Emma build a sandcastle on the small beach behind the marina. Different how? Softer, more real. When she first arrived, she was all sharp edges and designer clothes. Now look at her. Marcus looked. Sophia was laughing at something Emma said, her hair loose, her feet bare her expensive outfit, replaced by borrowed jeans and one of his flannel shirts. She's healing, Marcus said. Same as me. Same as you, brother. You've been here 3 years. And I'm just now starting to actually live instead of just surviving. Mike nodded slowly. Rachel would have liked her. The comment caught Marcus off guard. You think so? I know so. Rachel always said you needed someone to shake you out of your shell. Someone who wouldn't let you retreat into your work and your grief. Mike clapped him on the shoulder. Sophia Hartwell is definitely that someone. That evening, Daniel Hartwell's lawyers made contact. The documents arrived via courier, thick envelopes filled with legal language that took Marcus hours to parse. But the core message was clear. Daniel was honoring his agreement, a formal acknowledgement of Marcus's intellectual property rights to the Phoenix Protocol, a non-disclosure agreement preventing either party from discussing the events that led to their negotiation, and most importantly, a legally binding guarantee that neither Daniel nor any of his associates would approach Marcus Emma or their property. It's real, Sophia said, reading over his shoulder. He actually did it. He didn't have a choice. He had a choice. He could have fought, dragged this out in courts for years, and risked everything in the process. Marcus set down the documents. Daniel's a businessman. He calculated the odds and made the smart play. That doesn't mean he's given up. He'll find another way to get what he wants. He always does. Maybe, but not through me, not through Emma. Marcus turned to face her. And not through you. Me. You're a loose end in his mind, a potential threat. He'll be watching you. Sophia's expression hardened. Let him watch. I have nothing to hide, not anymore. What about your life in New York? Your career? What career? Daniel made sure I was radioactive in every boardroom on Wall Street. The ice queen who drove her husband to infidelity. Sophia's laugh was bitter. My career ended the day he filed for divorce. So what will you do? I don't know. For the first time in my life, I genuinely don't know. She moved to the window, looking out at the harbor. In New York, I always had a plan. 5-year goals, 10-year projections. Every decision calculated for maximum advantage. And now, Now I'm making sandcastles with a 7-year-old and learning the names of fishing boats." She turned back to him. "And I've never been happier." Crescent Cove has that effect on people. It's not just Crescent Cove. The words hung between them, heavy with implication. "Sophia, I know, it's too fast. It's too complicated. You're still grieving Rachel, and I'm still recovering from Daniel and Emma's already too attached to me and... Sophia." She stopped. "I was going to say," Marcus said quietly, "that I'm glad you're here." "Oh. I've been alone for a long time. Not just since Rachel died, since the accident, since I lost everything. I convinced myself that isolation was safety, that keeping everyone at a distance was protecting Emma. It's not. It's just lonely." He stepped closer. "You asked me once what matters. Beyond winning, beyond surviving. This is what matters. Connection. Community. Letting people in even when it's terrifying." "Is it terrifying letting me in?" "Absolutely." "Good." Sophia smiled. "Because you terrify me too." "I do." "You're honest. Genuinely, uncomplicatedly honest. I've never met anyone like that. In my world, everyone has an angle. Everyone wants something." "What do you want?" Sophia was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. "I want to stop running. I want to feel safe somewhere. I want to wake up in the morning without dreading what the day will bring." Her eyes met his. "I want what you and Emma have, that simple, beautiful, impossible thing. It's not impossible. It is for someone like me. It's not." Marcus reached out, taking her hand. "It's scary, and it's hard, and it takes time. But it's not impossible. Rachel taught me that." "What did she teach you?" "That love isn't something you earn or deserve. It's something you choose. Every day, over and over again. Even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts. That's when it matters most." Sophia's hand trembled in his. "Marcus, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to be vulnerable. I spent 30 years building walls, and now you're asking me to tear them down." "I'm not asking you to tear them down. I'm asking you to let me help you build a door." The metaphor was clumsy. Marcus had never been good with words, but Sophia laughed and the tension broke. "A door. Yeah, so you can let people in when you're ready, and keep them out when you're not." "That's very practical for a romantic gesture." "I'm an engineer. We're practical people." Sophia squeezed his hand. "Then build me a door, Marcus Cole. And maybe someday I'll be brave enough to open it." "Daddy!" Emma's voice echoed from the bedroom, interrupting the moment. "I think someone's awake from her nap," Sophia observed. "She has terrible timing." "Actually, I think her timing is perfect." Sophia released his hand with a smile. "Go. Be a dad. That's what you're best at." Marcus went, but at the doorway he paused. "Sophia." "Yes." "I'm glad you crushed that paper airplane." Sophia blinked. "What?" "If you hadn't, none of this would have happened. We'd never have met. You'd still be stranded with a broken yacht, and I'd still be hiding from the world." He smiled. "Sometimes the worst moments lead to the best ones." He disappeared into the bedroom before she could respond. Sophia stood alone in the living room, looking at the photo of Rachel on the bookshelf. The kind eyes, the warm smile, the obvious love captured in a single moment. "I'll take care of them," she whispered. "I promise." The photo didn't respond, of course, but somehow Sophia felt like she'd been heard. 2 weeks later, the first of what Emma would call the new normal began to take shape. George Wilson flew in from New York to personally deliver the final documentation from the settlement. He met with Marcus and Sophia at the Lighthouse Cafe, spreading papers across the table while Emma colored in a booth nearby. "It's ironclad," George said. "I've had 3 independent attorneys review every clause. Daniel can't touch you. Either of you." "What about his reputation?" Sophia asked. "The Navy contract?" Delayed but not cancelled, he managed to convince them that the original technology issues were resolved. George's expression soured. "The man has the luck of the devil." "Or the conscience of one," Marcus muttered. "Same thing in my experience." George gathered the papers into a folder. "The important thing is that you're both protected. Marcus retains full intellectual property rights to Phoenix, and Sophia's divorce settlement now includes additional compensation for the sabotage of the Aurora." "I didn't ask for compensation." "No, but you're getting it. Daniel offered it as part of the non-disclosure agreement. $3 million tax-free deposited in an account of your choosing." Sophia stared at him. "$3 million? He's buying your silence, and I suspect trying to assuage whatever passes for his guilt." George smiled thinly. "I'd take it if I were you. Consider it reparations for 5 wasted years." After George left, Sophia sat in stunned silence. $3 million, she said finally. "That's a lot of money." "It's not about the money. It's about what it represents. Daniel Hartwell admitting he wronged me. Even indirectly, even as a payoff, he admitted it. Does that help? I don't know. Maybe." Sophia shook her head. "I spent months feeling like I was the villain in our story, the cold wife who drove him away. And now I have proof that he was the monster all along." "You didn't need proof. You knew the truth." "Knowing isn't the same as proving. Proving changes how other people see you, how history remembers you." Marcus considered this. "Is that important? How history remembers you?" "It used to be. Now—" Sophia looked at Emma, who was showing her latest drawing to Sarah. "Now I'm not sure it matters at all. Progress. Or delusion. Sometimes they're the same thing." Sophia laughed and stood. "I should start thinking about what to do next. I can't keep sleeping on your couch forever." "You could stay." "Marcus, not like that. I mean, not immediately like that." He stumbled over his words, feeling like a teenager again. "There's a house for sale near the school. Victorian needs work, great views. I could help you fix it up, if you wanted." Sophia stared at him. "You want me to buy a house in Crescent Cove?" "I want you to have options. You said you don't know what's next. This could be next. Or not. It's up to you. You've thought about this." "I've thought about a lot of things." "Such as?" Marcus took a breath. This was the moment. The door he'd told her about. Such as what it might be like to have someone to talk to after Emma goes to bed, to share meals with, to argue about whose turn it is to do the dishes. He met her eyes. Such as what it might be like to not be alone anymore. Sophia was very quiet. "That sounds," she said slowly, "terrifying." "It is." "And wonderful." "That too." "And completely insane." "Definitely." She smiled. "Show me the house." The Victorian house looked worse in daylight than it had in Marcus's memory. Peeling paint hung from the clapboards like dead skin. The porch sagged dangerously in the middle. Windows were cracked shutters hung crooked, and the front door appeared to be held in place by sheer stubbornness. "It's perfect," Sophia said. Marcus stared at her. "You're joking." "I'm completely serious." She walked up the overgrown path, picking her way through weeds that reached her knees. "Look at the bones. The foundation is solid. The roofline is beautiful. And that view?" She turned to face the harbor visible through a gap in the trees. The Aurora sat at its mooring, gleaming white against the blue water. "This is what you see when you wake up every morning. Possibility. I see a money pit that needs 6 months of work before it's habitable. Then we have 6 months of work ahead of us." Sophia turned back with a smile. "I've never renovated anything in my life. Teach me." "Sophia, this is crazy. You have $3 million. You could buy something finished, something that doesn't require tetanus shots to enter." "I don't want finished. I want this." She gestured at the decrepit house. I want something that needs me, something I can build with my own hands. You'll break your nails. I'll grow new ones. Marcus shook his head, but he was smiling. You're stubborn. I learned from watching you. Emma burst through the gate behind them, having escaped from Mike's supervision at the cafe. Is this the princess house? It looks like a witch house. Thanks for the enthusiasm, sweetheart. Witches are cool, Daddy. They have magic powers. Emma ran up to join Sophia on the porch. Can I have a room with a window? I want to see the dolphins when they swim by. Dolphins don't swim this close to shore, baby. They might, if we're very quiet and believe hard enough. Sophia laughed and knelt to Emma's level. I think believing hard enough is the most important part. Mommy said that too. She said if you believe in something enough, it becomes real. Your mommy was very wise. She was the wisest. Emma took Sophia's hand with the casual intimacy of a child who had already decided this person belonged to her. Will you live here close to us? Sophia looked up at Marcus. That depends on your daddy. Daddy wants you to stay, he told Mike. I heard him when I was supposed to be sleeping. Marcus felt his face flush. Emma. What? You did say it. You said, I hope she stays forever. And Mike said, then tell her. And you said, I don't know how. And Mike said, just open your mouth and let the words fall out. Sophia's expression was unreadable. Is that true? Marcus stood there exposed by his 7-year-old daughter with no place to hide. Yes, it's true. You want me to stay forever. I want you to stay as long as you want to stay. Forever would be... nice. Nice. Sophia's lips twitched. That's very romantic. I told you I'm not good with words. No, you're not. She rose and walked toward him, Emma still holding her hand. But you're very good with actions, so maybe you should try one of those instead. Marcus understood. His heart pounding, he closed the distance between them. And in front of the witch house, with the peeling paint and sagging porch in front of his daughter, and the harbor and the whole town of Crescent Cove watching from various hiding spots, Marcus Cole kissed Sophia Hartwell. It was awkward and clumsy and absolutely perfect. Emma squealed with delight. Daddy kissed the princess. Her voice carried across the water. Somewhere a fishing boat horn sounded in apparent approval. Well, Sophia said when they finally broke apart, that was definitely an action. Was it okay? It was better than okay. She smiled, and Marcus saw no trace of the cold, dismissive woman who had crushed his daughter's airplane 6 weeks ago. It was a beginning. The renovation of what Emma insisted on calling the Princess Witch House became a community project. Mike showed up on the first Saturday with power tools and a cooler of beer. Bill Thompson followed with lumber from a recent demolition project. Sarah brought enough food to feed an army, and somehow an army materialized to eat it. Fishermen who barely knew Marcus's name appeared with paintbrushes and work gloves. The elementary school principal offered her husband's construction expertise. Even old Pete, who claimed to be 93 and hadn't left his cottage in a decade, shuffled down the hill to offer unsolicited advice about proper joist placement. This is insane, Sophia said, watching the chaos unfold. I tried to hire people. They just showed up. That's Crescent Cove. Marcus handed her a paintbrush. When someone needs help, you help. When you need help, they'll be there. But I haven't done anything for these people. I've been here less than 2 months. You don't have to earn it. That's not how community works. Sophia stared at the brush in her hand. In New York, everything was transactional. You gave to get. Relationships were investments with expected returns. And how did that work out? I ended up married to a man who saw me as an asset rather than a person. Sophia dipped the brush in paint. So not great. This is better. This is terrifying. She started painting her strokes uncertain, but determined. I don't know how to accept kindness without calculating the cost. Start by saying thank you. The rest comes with practice. By evening, the porch no longer sagged. The front door hung straight. 3 windows had been replaced, and the living room walls wore a fresh coat of soft blue paint that Emma had selected after an hour of agonizing deliberation. "It looks like the ocean," Emma explained, standing in the center of the empty room. "So, when Sophia wakes up, she'll feel like she's still on the boat, but safe on land." "That's very thoughtful, sweetheart." "I'm a thoughtful person. Mrs. Patterson said so on my report card." Marcus caught Sophia's eye across the room. She was covered in paint, her designer instincts clearly horrified by the amateur finish on the walls, but she was smiling. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" "For this. For them." She gestured at the volunteers packing up their tools outside. "For showing me what I've been missing. You would have found it eventually." "I'm not sure I would have. I think I needed—" She hesitated. "I think I needed you to find it for me." The weeks became months. Sophia moved into the Victorian house as soon as it was habitable, though habitable was a generous term for those first few months. The plumbing was temperamental, the heating was unreliable, and the stairs creaked so loudly that stealth was impossible. But she stayed. Through the cold nights and the leaky roof and the discovery of a family of raccoons in the attic, she stayed. Emma became her most frequent visitor, appearing after school with homework and questions and an endless supply of 7-year-old wisdom. "Why do you have so many books?" "Because I like to read." "But you can't read them all. There are too many." "I'll read them eventually. That's what retirement is for." "What's retirement?" "When you stop working and just do whatever you want." Emma considered this. "Daddy says he's never going to retire because fixing things is what he loves." "Your daddy is a special case." "He's special because he loves us. That's what makes people special, loving people more than things." Sophia paused in her book organizing. "Who told you that?" "Mommy, in a video she made before she got too sick." Emma's voice was matter-of-fact, the casual intimacy of a child discussing mortality. "She made lots of videos for me. Daddy puts them on my tablet sometimes when I miss her." "That must be nice, getting to hear her voice." "It is. She tells me things she wanted me to know, like how to be brave and how to be kind and how to pick friends who make you feel like sunshine." "Do I make you feel like sunshine?" Emma smiled that radiant smile so like her mother's. "You make Daddy feel like sunshine, and that makes me feel like double sunshine." Sophia blinked rapidly, turning away before Emma could see the tears. "I'm glad," she managed. "Me too." Emma returned to her homework. "Can we have pizza for dinner? I'll ask Daddy to come." They had pizza. And the next night, and the night after that. Dinners became a regular occurrence. Then sleepovers, then lazy Sunday mornings, where Emma watched cartoons while Marcus and Sophia shared coffee and the newspaper. "She's calling me Sophie now," Sophia mentioned one morning watching Emma through the window. The little girl was building something in the backyard, a fort or a castle or possibly a spaceship. "Is that okay?" "It's more than okay. My mother used to call me Sophie, before she died." "You never mentioned your mother." "There's a lot I haven't mentioned." Sophia sipped her coffee. "My father left when I was 4. My mother raised me alone, working 2 jobs, never complaining. She died when I was 16. Cancer." "I'm sorry." "It was a long time ago. But sometimes I forget what her voice sounded like, what her laugh sounded like." Sophia's eyes remained fixed on Emma. "That's why the videos Rachel made are so important. Emma will always have her mother's voice." Rachel planned everything. Even when she was dying, she was thinking ahead, making sure Emma would have what she needed. "She sounds extraordinary." She was. She really was. Marcus was quiet for a moment. "I used to feel guilty, moving on, feeling something for someone else. And now I think Rachel would kick my ass if she knew I'd spent 4 years living half a life." He smiled. "She always said I was too stubborn for my own good, that I needed someone to shake me out of my patterns." Am I shaking you? Every single day. Spring arrived with the subtlety of a freight train transforming Crescent Cove from gray and dormant to explosively alive. Wildflowers covered the hillsides. The fishing boats returned to full operation. And Emma's 8th birthday approached with the inevitability of a natural disaster. "I want a party," she announced. "A big one, with everyone." "Everyone?" Marcus asked warily. "Everyone. Mike and Sarah and Bill and Mrs. Patterson and Captain Ben and Old Pete and Sophie and everyone." "That's a lot of people." "I'm a popular person. Mrs. Patterson said so." The party was held at the Lighthouse Cafe, which Mike closed for the occasion. Sophia handled the decorations with the precision of a military operation, transforming the space into an 8-year-old's dream of balloons, streamers, and an alarming amount of glitter. "There's glitter in my coffee," Marcus observed. "There's glitter everywhere. It's a design choice. It's a mess. It's a festive mess. Emma loves it." Marcus watched his daughter racing between groups of guests, her face alight with joy. She'd grown so much in the past year. Taller, more confident, quicker with her words and her laughter. "She's happy," he said quietly. "She's surrounded by people who love her. Of course she's happy. Not just that, she's settled. For the first time since Rachel died, she's not waiting for the other shoe to drop." Kids sense stability. They know when they're safe. "She's safe because of you." Sophia turned to face him. "She's safe because of us. All of us. The whole ridiculous village that showed up to paint my house and fix my roof and teach me how to make proper cornbread. Sarah's cornbread recipe is sacred. The fact that she shared it with you means you're officially family." "Family." Sophia tested the word. "I never had much of that. Not the real kind." "You do now." Emma appeared before them, birthday crown askew, frosting smeared across her cheek. "Daddy, Sophie, it's time for cake. You have to come now." She grabbed both their hands, dragging them toward the table where Sarah was placing candles on an impressive 3-layer creation. 8 candles, Emma announced. "Because I'm 8. That's almost double digits." "2 more years, sweetheart." "I can't wait. Mrs. Patterson says double digits are when things get interesting." The candles were lit. The song was sung badly enthusiastically by 50-odd voices crammed into the small cafe. Emma closed her eyes, her face scrunched with concentration. "What did you wish for?" someone called. "I can't tell. That ruins it." Emma's eyes opened, meeting Marcus's. "But I think it's going to come true." The party wound down as evening approached. Guests departed with hugs and leftovers and promises to see each other soon. Emma fell asleep in a booth, surrounded by presents, her crown still perched on her tangled hair. Marcus and Sophia sat on the cafe's back deck, watching the sun set over the harbor. "She wished for us," Sophia said quietly. "What?" "Emma. Her birthday wish. She wished for us." Sophia pulled a crumpled piece of paper from her pocket. "I found this in her room yesterday. She's been writing her wishes down. I wish for Daddy and Sophie to be happy together forever." Marcus took the paper, recognizing his daughter's careful handwriting. The words blurred as unexpected tears filled his eyes. "She's something else. She's exactly like you. Loving people without conditions, without calculations." Sophia leaned against his shoulder. "I spent so long believing that happiness was something you achieved, a goal with metrics and milestones. But it's not, is it? It's something you build, day by day, moment by moment." That sounds like something Rachel would say. Maybe some wisdom is universal. They sat in comfortable silence as the stars emerged one by one. "I love you," Marcus said. The words came out easily, naturally, as if they'd been waiting years to be spoken. Sophia turned to look at him. "What?" "I love you. I probably should have said it months ago, but I was scared. Scared of betraying Rachel's memory. Scared of opening myself up to loss again. Scared of everything. He took her hand. But I'm more scared of losing you because I never said the words. Marcus. You don't have to say it back. I just needed you to know. Whatever happens, whatever you decide, I love you. The way you've transformed since that day on the dock. The way you treat Emma. The way you've let this place change you. I love all of it. Sophia's eyes were bright with tears. I love you too. Yeah. Yeah. She laughed, a sound of pure relief. I've been trying to figure out how to say it for weeks. I kept rehearsing speeches in my head, trying to find the perfect words. How's this for perfect words? I love you, and I want you to stay forever. That's Emma's phrase. She's smarter than both of us. Sophia kissed him, soft and sweet and full of promise. Forever sounds good to me. The proposal, when it came, was decidedly unromantic. Marcus was underneath a fishing boat covered in grease trying to repair a stubborn carburetor. Sophia had brought him lunch, a sandwich and coffee from the cafe, a routine they'd established over months. I've been thinking, he called from beneath the hull. About the future. About us. About what comes next. That's a lot of thinking for a carburetor job. I'm a multitasker. He slid out from under the boat, his face streaked with oil. Sophia, will you marry me? She stared at him. What? Marry me. Be my wife. Be Emma's stepmother officially. He sat up, suddenly aware of how ridiculous he must look. I was going to do something fancy. A nice dinner maybe, or a walk on the beach at sunset. But every time I planned something, it felt wrong, artificial. So I'm just asking, right now, right here. You're covered in grease. I am. You don't have a ring. I do, actually, but it's in my apartment. I've been carrying it around for 3 weeks, waiting for the right moment. This is the right moment. This is the honest moment, the real moment. I'm not some polished romantic hero, Sophia. I'm a guy who fixes engines and makes paper airplanes and burns dinner twice a week. But I love you. I love us. And I want to spend whatever time I have left making you happy. Sophia was very quiet. Then she started laughing. What? Marcus felt his heart sink. Is that a no? It's a yes, you idiot. She dropped to her knees beside him, heedless of the oil and dirt. Yes, I'll marry you. Yes, I'll be Emma's stepmother. Yes to all of it. Really? Really? She kissed him, getting grease on her face in the process. But we're telling people a nicer version of this story. Something with candles and maybe a sunset. Whatever you want. I want you. I want Emma. I want this life. Sophia smiled, and Marcus saw the woman she'd become, open, vulnerable, unafraid. I want everything. The wedding was held on the Aurora. There was poetry in that, everyone agreed. The boat that had brought them together, the scene of their confrontation, their alliance, their escape, now transformed into a celebration of their union. Emma served as both flower girl and ring bearer, a dual responsibility she accepted with great solemnity. She wore a dress covered in sailboats and insisted on bare feet, because boats are for being free. Mike stood as Marcus's best man, his speech equal parts heartfelt tribute and embarrassing anecdotes from their years of friendship. George Wilson, who had flown in from New York, walked Sophia down the aisle in the absence of any family to fill that role. You look happy, George observed as they waited for the music to begin. I am happy, genuinely happy. Sophia squeezed his arm. Thank you for everything, George, for standing by me when no one else would. I never doubted you, not for a moment. You were the only one. And now look, a whole town that believes in you, a man who loves you, a little girl who adores you. George smiled. Not bad for a woman who thought she'd lost everything. I did lose everything, and then I found something better. The ceremony was brief and simple. The vows were personal, written by Marcus and Sophia themselves. Emma interrupted twice to offer commentary, and once to point out a pelican flying past. I, Marcus, take you, Sophia, to be my partner, my confidant, my co-parent, and my friend. I promise to fix your broken things, to hold your hand when you're scared, and to build you as many doors as you need until you're ready to open them all. I, Sophia, take you, Marcus, to be my home, my teacher, my adventure, and my heart. I promise to stay when it's hard to grow, when it's scary, and to never ever crush another paper airplane as long as I live. Laughter rippled through the assembled guests. Emma beamed. The rings were exchanged. The kiss was shared. And just like that, Marcus Cole was no longer alone. The reception spilled from the Aurora onto the dock and eventually into the Lighthouse Cafe, the party growing as more townspeople joined the celebration. Marcus danced with Emma, with Sophia, with Sarah, with every woman present who demanded a turn. "You're a terrible dancer," Sophia observed during a slow song. "I know. Rachel tried to teach me for years." "I'm not trying to teach you. I'm just enjoying the attempt." "That's love. That's acceptance. There's a difference." As midnight approached, Marcus found himself on the Aurora's deck, looking out at the harbor that had become his home. Sophia joined him, wrapping her arms around his waist from behind. "Having regrets?" she asked. "Not one. Only that I didn't find you sooner." "We found each other exactly when we were supposed to." Marcus turned to face her. "Any earlier, and neither of us would have been ready." "You really believe that timing is everything?" "I believe that we get the chances we need when we need them. What we do with those chances is up to us." Emma appeared yawning, her flower girl dress rumpled and her feet still stubbornly bare. "Is the party over?" "Almost, sweetheart. Did you have fun?" "The best fun. Mike taught me to do the robot, and Sarah let me have 3 pieces of cake, and old Pete told me a story about pirates." Emma leaned against Marcus's leg. "Daddy." "Yes, baby. Does this mean Sophie is my mommy now?" The question hung in the air, delicate and enormous. Sophia knelt slowly, bringing herself to Emma's eye level. "I could never replace your mommy, Emma. She'll always be your mommy forever and ever. But if you want, I could be something else. Something new." "Like what?" "Like a Sophie mom. Someone who loves you and takes care of you and helps you with your homework and makes you breakfast. But different from a regular mom." Emma considered this with the gravity of a judge weighing evidence. "Would you still read me stories every night? And help me build sandcastles, as many as you want? And teach me to sail the boat? When you're old enough. And never go away, even when things get hard?" Sophia's eyes filled with tears. "Never. I promise." Emma nodded solemnly. Then she threw her arms around Sophia's neck. "Okay, you can be my Sophie mom, but I'm still keeping my real mommy too." "Of course you are, sweetheart. Always." Marcus watched his daughter and his wife embrace the harbor lights dancing on the water behind them, the stars keeping their ancient vigil overhead. 2 years ago he had been a man in hiding, a father barely surviving, a ghost haunting the edges of his own life. Now he stood at the center of something real, something true, something that had grown from the most unlikely soil, a crushed paper airplane, and a moment of cruelty that had somehow blossomed into love. Rachel would have approved. He was certain of that now. She had always wanted him to live fully, to embrace joy, even in the shadow of sorrow. And finally, after 4 long years, he was doing exactly that. "Daddy!" Emma's sleepy voice interrupted his thoughts. "Yes, sweetheart. I'm glad the princess crushed my airplane." Marcus laughed, lifting his daughter into his arms. "You know what, baby, me too." They stood together on the deck, the one-eyed mechanic, the former billionaire, and the little girl who had brought them together. Behind them, the party continued. Before them, the future stretched open and inviting. And as the Aurora rocked gently in the harbor of Crescent Cove, a family that had been broken was made whole again. Not through luck, not through circumstance, but through the simple, stubborn, beautiful choice to love again. That was the lesson Marcus Cole would carry for the rest of his days. That was the truth he would teach his daughter. That was the story he would tell over and over to anyone who needed to hear it. Love finds a way. Always. If you're brave enough to let it.